If you're at the higher end of content creation, 9 times out of 10, those very people are probably fake as hell. Can I be real? Like, that is literally what I've been feeling for quite a while now. Anytime there's been drama or some beef or whatever the hell that's been going on, like 9 times out of 10, it feels like there's just nonsense that goes on for some damn reason. That usually ends up being the case in a lot of damn instances. And a rare time that it's usually not the case is pretty damn rare, or at least that's how I kind of feel, right? Like, anytime I see drama at any point in time, it instantly annoys me because it's usually just some California having ass rich ass people that basically is having a non-issue or is creating a non-issue when there wasn't any in the first damn place, or they keep so many different secrets hidden and all this sort of stuff for 5 million years only until it just benefits them, I guess, to get some attention on their name or get some attention in general to kind of come through in some shape and form. No matter if it's a risk of basically looking bad in front of people, it doesn't really matter. Now, I would like to think y'all would know why I cover news like half of the damn time. It's either A, it's because genuinely it's affecting what I like, and I don't want to necessarily see it get basically hoed like a crack addicted whore on a Saturday night when they're trying to get their money for their pimp. But also at the same time, the other reason why I cover news is because half the time it's in my face and something genuinely annoys me, and then I therefore cover it, right? Still won't dip the toes too hard into like things of like far in politics or far in things of like real life conflicts or stuff like that. Like, I won't ever go into that territory, or try not to. But when it comes down to it though, if it's something like internet stuff basically, then yeah, if it actually is something that annoys me and I feel like I can talk about it, then I obviously will bring it up. That's how sometimes I've talked about a lot of VTuber nonsense, right? I am so far out the VTuber space at this point. Mentally, I'm so checked out of that space that I don't really care what the hell's going on in that space at all, right? Yeah, sure, I might be PNG tuber or be self-proclaimed VTuber, but ultimately I just don't care to be in that space at that moment in time because it's just nothing going on that's interesting to me. It's all kind of the samey sort of stuff, same slime ballish sort of people that exist in that space. Call out people, nothing really kind of happens, no consequences whatsoever, and it just kind of feels the same, right? All that shit kind of basically feels the same when it comes down to it. And then when you look at the bigger content creators, it's just that, but times 10, and that's just how it is, right? Ultimately. Now, I will not necessarily sit here and say, oh, there is never a time where, content creators, go through something and essentially they basically actually go through something for real. Like, yes, there is that rare time where they do, but 99.9% of the time, it feels fake as all hell, right? Or at least it makes you question, why did they do actions in the first damn place to kind of keep themselves a bit safe, right? I think Emiru is a perfect example of a lot of nonsense going on right now. Like, and again, if this is real, then obviously, things should be better than what it is. But ultimately, it just feels fake, right? Or at least it doesn't feel like it makes sense in any shape or form. Like the TwitchCon thing, yeah, random ass dude came through and it was really weird and all that sort of stuff, and I don't really get why that needed to be a thing unless there's something else at play that we just don't know. But honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, but let's just say that was a real thing, and sure, why not? But when it comes down to it, you mean to tell me that now you're trying to call out another person for threatening you and all this other stuff when you had all the time in the world to do that? People have called her like a very big content creator and streamer or whatever, and I'm like, wait, so you mean to tell me you waited all these times, all this time to basically just sit on your behind and not call out this person before if you knew it was some nonsense? Why? Right? And then the second thing is like, alright, if you know all this stuff is going down, why would you post all this stuff online and not put it in front of a court case, right? I don't know, that just feels weird. Like, I don't think there is any situation where it's like you can't necessarily bring it into a courtroom or something like that, right? I don't think there's any reason why you can't necessarily do that. Even if the person is threatening you or being all bull, I feel like you could definitely, put some type of fine to them, some type of like, sentence to them or something like that. in this shape and form, and yet you haven't for whatever reason, even though you have stockpiled on evidence and stuff like that, it's a little weird, right? And it makes you wonder, is this shit just not it? Is this shit just some behind the scenes nonsense that doesn't even matter, honestly? Right? And this is where like the fake stuff kind of comes in. Maybe not the situation is fake, but parts of it is like, wait, why did certain things didn't happen until now? Why are you now just saying that? Just to get your, just to use the essentially you have for the TwitchCon thing, and then now you're using it for this, but you already had tons of people's attention. I'm pretty sure if you just open up with this, regardless, you could definitely use whatever you need to with your own influential power to kind of make shit happen, right? Also, keep in mind that a lot of the drama that we've been seeing really recently has been coming from Twitch, the most useless website of all the websites that is out there for streaming purposes, and to keep it very much a platform that basically only is catered to bigger people and very much is not doing their jobs when it comes down to actual moderation of what a platform should actually do. I swear to you, if they even implemented half of the rules of what they should actually do, 9 times out of 10, 99% of those people that actually be in the news constantly wouldn't have been dipped off like 5 million ways for Sunday by now. They would have been dipped off easily, but they just do not dip them off, obviously, because they make them too much damn money and all that sort of stuff. Even if they hold the entire platform and all the other streamers that is way lower than them, or just straight up hold in a way where it's like, changing up the rules or changing the algorithm itself or all this sort of stuff, they'll complain about it, or at least they'll mention to complain about it, but it's not really gonna affect them whatsoever. It's just gonna hold a smaller streamer, and that's just unfortunately how it is for every platform. But I feel like a reason why a lot of the drama do happen the way it happens is because Twitch itself just does not do what a platform should actually do. Like, if you see people having childbirths on streams, having actual murders at times that do happen on streams, or just people taking themselves out, or having actual controversial streamers to basically do a lot of wild and things, whether it's shocking dogs or whatever the hell else is there, or smashing on stream, literally you would think the platform would actually do something, but they just don't. And that's why I call them Twitch bitch. That's why I don't care how big this channel gets. If the day comes through where it actually grows, I would never want to stream on Twitch, just solely for the fact it's a lot of stupidity that's over there. It's a lot of really dumb stuff that is over there. That's why, when people look at a lot of these content creators move around from different platforms, a lot of them is like, no, stay your ass back on Twitch. Do not come over here. Stay your ass over there. We don't want you over here, because you're going to screw over everything for smaller creators as well. And that's really the whole kind of big ass goal that they kind of have, right? Or at least if it's not intentional, that's what it feels like half the damn time. But obviously, it's not just a platform like Twitch that obviously has the no consequence things that kind of makes things a mess as it is. It's obviously because the people themselves, the big content creators themselves can get away with so much shit. Like the damn TV meta. Remember that shit when everybody was just watching TV and then screwed over everybody else in the process? Yeah, that's just the weakest weird shit of all that, right? Let's just be absolutely honest. And then at the very same time too, it just kind of makes you wonder about, or at least think about other stuff too, about these very same content creators. These are the very same content creators that be, switching up so easily to write themselves a book or whatever and talking about how they've been struggling or how their lives actually is, when it feels like some of the most fakest shit possible. Not just mentioning like the book, but it's just like, you was on dick the entire time. We have literal hordes of evidence of you being on some weird shit the entire time. What the hell you mean you make it a book or you matured beyond your level of what you used to be? Bitch, that was like 2 years ago. The hell do you mean? And every time situations come through, and when it comes down to people that are just having all this authority of influence and just raining it down upon basically anybody, it just feels like, man, if somebody was smaller and absolutely grew up into a bigger, size of a channel or whatever, I feel like they would do a lot better of a job with their actual, growth and what they have gotten, than these actual people that's really at the top and actually is doing all the stuff that honestly I don't feel like they half the time deserve, honestly. Again, it's not every single big content creator that is out there that is, on dick and being on weird timing the entire time, but there is a fair amount of them that just overwhelms the good ones, honestly, and that's just how it is. Another reason is to kind of feel like a lot of this stuff feels a bit fake and why I really don't care about it is because of those 180 turns, right? Like, I know there's a lot, and I might get some heat off of this when it comes down to it, but I remember when, I was watching KSI like back in the day before he did all the rap and boxing stuff. He was a FIFA guy, right? And I didn't care nothing about FIFA. I didn't know anything about FIFA. I still don't know anything about the sport of football over there overseas, and I don't understand why it's a big deal. But but when it comes down to it, though, ultimately he was doing like a lot of FIFA stuff. One of my favorite like videos that he did was FIFA 97, which was hilarious as shit because Deja kept whooping his ass. But ultimately, he stopped uploading like content for like a good couple of months or whatever, and I was just like, what the hell happened, right? And when he came back, it was no more FIFA, none of that shit. It was just straight up music and boxing and internet beef and drama with the family and drama with all these other people that came into the rap game and all that sort of stuff. And yes, I just did hit my damn door. But when it comes down to it, though, it was just like, what happened? What even is half of this shit? Right? Having that fake ass beef with Logan Paul and whatever, and all this sort of stuff. And that should have told me right then that everything that you see from that point forward is going to be some level of fakeness to it. And I'm just like, nah, that couldn't be. Not every situation's gonna be like that. And yet it basically is. The only times I feel like it isn't is unless somebody's not involved in the joke or it's a business, right? Like, you can't obviously fake what happened with the certain forest in Japan with Logan going there, right? You can't fake that. You can't fake the downfall of Heat Shoujo, obviously, because that's very much real. That whole business is basically cooked and gone, honestly, so that's just ultimately how it is on that. So, like, you can't fake certain elements of what actually is going on when it comes down to it. You just can't fake those elements. But there is a lot of other elements that is basically feeling fake as all hell. And one of those things, again, is those 180 turns that certain content creators really would make. That's why, even for some of the good ones, I don't watch some of the good big ones that people have zero problems with at all. Like a PewDiePie or a Markiplier or a Jacksepticeye, honestly. Because, like, it feels like they should have just been themselves in the damn beginning, right? That's just my mentality on things. If you're gonna perform and be yourself when it comes down to making content creation, do that shit just how you always been doing this shit, or at least come at it from an angle where you've always going to be you. Like, don't ever really change up and try to switch up later, because it's gonna make people think, oh yeah, you're probably fake as shit, right? Markiplier was loud as hell. I never watched Markiplier, but he was loud as hell back then and did a lot of like weird, crazy stuff. Now he's just like, oh yeah, I'm Chad Markiplier now. I'm that guy. And I'm like, was that not you like years ago? Like, what the hell happened here? And I'm not saying, time doesn't change things. Like, time does change things. But it's just when you hit that drastic ass 180, like you wasn't there yesterday, or that wasn't you in the past, and it feels so disassociated with who you are now. It's like, what the hell happened here, right? KSI used to be FIFA man. Now he's like boxing and music guy and whatever. And it's like, wait, what? Same thing with Jack. Jack used to be like very much a good, happy ass dude, which, he was good. He was chill. Honestly, the only reason why I even heard of Jack was when Toy Story got announced for Kingdom Hearts 3. That's the only time I heard about him. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll check him out a few times. Stopped watching him for a little bit. Then now it's like he kind of feels like, or at least had this vibe of like, I kind of hate everything that isn't a very specific way. And that's just kind of how it is. And, it's just a bit shit personally. And I don't really like that sort of thing. Then you have people like, who else I said? Who the hell else I said? I can't even remember. But point is, people have that 180 sort of mentality of a switch and shift. And it just is feeling like ass the entire time. Now, there is people that has been on YouTube for like a good amount of time that I don't think actually causes that much of an issue, right? Like someone like 8-Bit Ron, he kind of been the same way he was from back then to how he is now, and he changes like maybe a little bit every now and again, but it's not necessarily anything like overly crazy. He's still the Ryan that you pretty much know, and he's still pretty much that decent ass dude that always have been that decent dude. And someone like Maximilian Dude, which, yeah, I know I'm going to be called a Max Glazer, but when a Max Glazer, maximum glaze, but when it comes down to it though, from what I could tell his older content, it doesn't seem like he changed that hard or any at all, really. You know, like, yeah, sure, he does less like skits and less stuff when it comes down to certain levels of content, and more so streams and just do maybe the offshoot videos at times. But when it comes down to it though, he hasn't really felt like he changed much. He doesn't really feel like he changed all that much when it comes down to what's going on and stuff like that either, and that's just how it is, right? So I could consistently watch someone like that and be fine. Maybe not agree with everything that comes out of their mouth when it comes down to Final Fantasy and how things should go, because, you know, I kind of want to see FF7 be a little bit different, just a little bit different. We can't have the whole damn thing different, but still, you know, like, he hasn't changed in a drastic ass way or really got into much drama that is like true actual internet drama, right? Same thing with Ryan as well when it comes down to it. Like, there's just certain people that will not necessarily sit there and change, or at least that will not engage in like certain levels of drama, even though people will try to drag them into it. It depends. Honestly, I feel like a make or break point kind of depends whether or not they engage with certain types of drama or whatever. And I do feel like if you engage with it and you go a certain way with it, GG's to your whole kind of like viewpoint of how people can perceive you now. I feel like that's kind of GG's to you. And to be real, I feel like people like a 8-Bit Ryan or a Maximilian feel more, what in the hell is that boat sound? To be real, I feel like people like an 8-Bit Ryan or a Maximilian, people like those are more feeling like real people than people that are like, you know, a Senna or like, you know, a Tectone or whoever the hell else is from California. You know, at least the parts of California that don't seem that like it's too much of anything when it comes down to it. It just feels like that's what you basically get. You get two sides of it, and it's not necessarily gonna be good on one side, and it's gonna be kind of decent on another side, right? And you're probably wondering, Jay, why you keep ragdolling California so damn much? Because that's where a lot of this shit comes from. That's where a lot of the weird shit comes from. It's California, Texas, or New York. Which, really, Texas just have, like, really weird laws. And New York just has, like, really, honestly, I don't know what New York has. They just got big-ass rats and people getting sturdy in the streets. That is literally all I know of New York. But when it comes down to it, though, it just goes to show you that, yeah, sometimes it just goes for that specific region of just where weird shit just kind of happens. California could deadass be its own state if they really want it to be, and you know, I could very much, you know, see that kind of being a thing, and because it does feel like its own world over there. Like, do I want to go to the west coast of California? Absolutely. But am I going to adopt the skinny latte, skinny jeans mentality and switch it up from my southern mentality? I don't think that's ever going to happen. My whole point of what I'm really trying to get at is with this whole thing is just the fact that, you know, there is a lot of people that is straight up fake as I don't know what on the internet, and that's just ultimately how it is. No matter how big and how good these people can absolutely be, there is always going to be a level of fakeness to them that they will never straight up really be when it comes down to it, right? Their job is basically straight up entertainment, and that's just the sole reason why they kind of here. It wouldn't honestly surprise me if they are basically kind of like Hollywood, right? If we really look at how Hollywood kind of conduct themselves and the weird shady crap that kind of goes around, I wouldn't be surprised that big YouTube, Twitch, Kick circle that's up there, they're all in it together, and that's just kind of how it is. They try to basically do what they do and just kind of be in that weird ass circle. I wouldn't be surprised there's a couple of freak offs, right? And sometimes they have to embarrass themselves in front of the public while not necessarily truthfully letting out all the secrets, right? It wouldn't surprise me if there's a weird ass ring like that. It genuinely wouldn't, because there's so many of them that's basically the very same way. This is why also at the same time too, when I was talking about VTubing a long time ago and looking at the top VTubers that's out there, and I'm like, man, I don't see how people can just sit up watch VTubers a lot of the time, because a lot of the shit is kind of boring. All they do is kind of like what, maybe like play games, do very safe jokes, and not go ballistic and crazy. No one really innovates on the genre of the subject of it. It's just like, it's the same sort of stuff. It's not anything impressive anymore, right? And that's just ultimately how it is. But you know who's doing like the impressive stuff? Do you know who's actually really trying to push what they can do? People that's at the lower levels. People that still actually care about their platform and their audience and their channel to do the things that they actually want to do, right? Those are the people that actually deserve those higher up ass numbers and those higher up ass paychecks coming from these platforms when it comes down to it, because they actually still care. They actually hasn't changed up a day. They haven't been fake with you, honestly, right? And that's just how it is. To this very same day, I have never really switched up at all since beginning this channel. And from how we are now, like, yeah, I gotten some more talking points to kind of bring up, and, you know, expanded my horizon on a few different things that we can talk about, but I never really changed up on what I wanted to do. I still like anime titties at the end of the day. I still like lollies at the end of the day when it comes down to it. All the fictional content should not be censored, and that's just ultimately how it is. I think the waifu genre of things is amazing. I think anime is peak. I still love Kingdom Hearts 2. It's still just a lot of stuff that I actually, you know, care about, that has never really switched up on me since I started doing this back in 2019. So ultimately, you don't have to switch up. You don't have to be that sort of way. You can still rock out the way you are. Sure, it might not get you the most popularity possible, and yeah, it's hell trying to get to that point, but also at the same time, at least your audience can look at you and be like, well, he never really changed up. He never really caused too much problems. Yeah, I might say some controversial stuff, but ultimately, I never really, like, you know, straight up hit a 180 on you and be like, you know what? Lollies is ass now, right? We like real women. you would never hear me say that unless it's like my beautiful, fine, future Asian wife when it comes down to it. That's the only thing you ever gonna hear me say. Other than that, I'm not switching up on anybody, or at least I pray I never do. And if I end up doing, remind me of this video in the future if we actually do blow up and I actually do need some course correction, and show me this video so I can actually get back on track, because definitely this is just absolute dog water we actually get in terms of real content creators that are like at the bigger top level of things, right? A lot of this shit feels fake. A lot of this stuff has been fake for a long time. No one just really called it out ever, right? No one really just does. And that's just ultimately how it is, right? It just genuinely is. So yeah, I guess that's really what I wanted to say for this one. It's a lot, and we went to very much different regions of how this conversation was going to go, but still I did feel like it was necessary to kind of bring up, because I'm just tired of the fakeness, right? I want honest content creators, or at least as honest as you can get, right? I'm not asking for you to expose every secret. I'm not asking for you to straight up just not tell any lies. I'm just asking for people to be honest in the content creation of what they're trying to do. Be honest in what you're really about, honestly, instead of just like trying to hide behind every single thing, blame somebody else for your things, or because you're bored you decided to say you're some type of victim of some type of, you know, abuse of some kind or whatever it may be. Like, don't come through with that. Just basically be who you are, and that's literally all you need to be for a lot of people. That's just genuinely how it is. And people would find it boring, then that's perfectly fine. You don't need to over exacerbate yourself to appeal to people. You was born in this world alone. You ain't gonna necessarily be needing people to like you all the damn time. That's just how it is. If people like me for me, and that's all that is to it, then that's really all that matters. Just on my mental note personally, right? That's just how it is for me. But yeah, that's essentially all I gotta say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. Also follow my socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's my boy Jay, sign off. Have a blessed day.